Test, test, 1, 2. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. Pretty interesting week, especially with how things played out with the NASDAQ market selling off. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. I'm looking up NASDAQ futures right now, and it looks like the NASDAQ market is slightly in the green, right? So we're up a little bit less than a quarter of a percent. And we can see the nice little jump up that we had, right? But as of right now, we're still getting rejected below 14,800 for the NASDAQ market. For those that haven't been paying much attention to what's been going on lately, NASDAQ market has been pulling on back. We hit highs of 387. This is for QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 1-for-1 ETF. And we've been forming lower lows and lower highs ever since then. We hit overall lows this week of around 354. It was a pretty significant week, right, when it comes down to the bears because of all that selling pressure. Big tech has sold off as well. I mean, look at Apple. This is all happening shortly after it reported earnings. Apple, nice little gap down, pulling on back on that 4-hour time frame. If we look at this on the day chart, it's still far from the moving average, so it still has some room to fall. So if you're asking the question, is this the end of all this selling pressure? The cheap can always get cheaper. I thought I would share this article that just popped up, and it says a perfect storm battering markets. It says surging global bond yields, a slumping Chinese economy amid a worsening property sector crisis. So pretty much what they're saying is there's a handful of different things that are right now not necessarily looking the best, right? Talking about the bond yield markets, right? Talking about the Chinese economy, talking about what the Federal Reserve, right? And their expectation of what they're going to make of the next CPI data report, right? What we learned in the last Fed minutes was that Fed officials more than not might be interested in actually continuing to raise interest rates for 2023 rather than the original expectation of completely pausing or actually cutting interest rates, right? We actually heard Jerome Powell say that they have no expectation for 2023 to actually pause to actually cut rate hikes, which again, I think is a big difference. So let me go ahead and so when it comes down to overall NASDAQ market, I mean, at the end of it, no one knows how much more this thing could potentially sell off. We did see a lot of selling pressure last week, so maybe this week we could kind of cool off and begin to show signs of a support. But if not, again, looking how the NASDAQ market is trading right now, again, we're at that 14,800. If there's no continuous progress, then it wouldn't really surprise me that NASDAQ market could end up getting rejected and forming those lower lows and lower highs. But we'll just have to wait and see, right? We all know that the market being up or down pre-market doesn't mean much because right when the market opens, we've seen it many times that direction can ultimately end up changing. My plan this week is to see and really get us a better sense of direction if we're still going to be getting rejected by this EMA line on the 4-hour time frame for QQQ. We might try to rip up very quickly, right, to go back and retest the CMA. But as long as we hold below that EMA and below that moving average, then ultimately it's just going to be a lower high for the bulls and a higher low for the bears, right? So my main focus is not trying to put so much weight on one day, but really ask myself, what is the overall direction of the market? And are we still bearish, or are we actually going to find a support and actually begin to recover? Because we all know, again, it doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish. We can make money either way, right? On what's it called? Bull markets and or bear markets, it doesn't matter as long as we focus on that overall direction. So let's see. All right. And if you guys want me to break down your stock, I know there's a lot going on right now when it comes down to, I was just in California, and for all those that are in the East Coast in the West Coast, you guys are potentially going to get hit with a hurricane. And that hasn't happened in a really long time. So I'm going to make today's live stream very short and sweet. If you have a specific stock that you would like me to break down, please feel free to share it in the live chat, and I would be more than happy to break it down for you. So I hope that I earn your thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe, and you do have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel to partake in the live chat. So just a heads up on that. Hawaii electricity, please HE. Let's go ahead and break that one down. Be more than happy to break that one down real quick for you. So it looks like we've had a huge gap down from overall. Okay, is this because of what's going on in Hawaii based off of recent patterns, right? So it looks like I would have to look into this a little bit more. It looks like it had no trading volume, and then all of a sudden it begins to gap down. Looks like it's showing signs of a potential reversal, right? Kind of like the 3 stages of reversal, but there's no confirmation. So I see that that's probably what you're looking into, right? But let's remember that the cheap can always get cheaper if we were to recover. I mean, yeah, it does offer about 100% ROI. So the way that I would really focus on this is I would size down, right? The more risky something is, the more that I choose to control my position size, right? But ultimately, it doesn't matter how cheap it does get. The whole idea that I would be focusing on here is setting alerts and waiting for proper indication of a reversal. But this one's actually pretty interesting because I have not looked into any companies that were affected because of what happened in Hawaii with the fires. So I'll have to check this one out, look a little bit more into it. And from what I learned, I'll make sure that I share it with you guys via Discord. So they might get sued for starting the fire. I see, Ryan. Okay. I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. It makes sense on why they've gapped down so significantly then. All right. We got Rob. What's going on? What's going on, homeboy? So let's go ahead and break this down. Looking at this on the day chart, I just want to get a better picture of how this tends to trade. Looking at this on the 4-hour based off of recent patterns, it's a little bit more on the overbought side, right? Based off of recent patterns, overall lows have been right around $21, $22. Okay, so it looks like it is trying to form these higher lows with this ascending uptrend pattern, but it has been getting rejected by this moving average for really a year, right? It peaked here and it's been selling off, forming lower lows and lower highs. So I'm not the biggest fan of the overall direction, but I can see why you're paying attention to it. But just taking a step back and looking at recent patterns, the question would really be, okay, are we actually going to break above $33 and show signs of progress? If so, then this would be doing something that it hasn't done in quite some time, right? So we're testing that same resistance range. But if we end up getting rejected, then again, it has a nice gap down, back down to $22. So if we end up going to retest, get rejected, then again, just allow it to sell off. It tends to consolidate here and then see if we get that confirmation. So at least you don't end up buying up here. It gets rejected and then you ride it all the way back down, right? Let's not overcomplicate it. That's 48%. So, alrighty. So we got ET. Okay. So on the 4-hour time frame, higher highs, higher lows. I like that you're focusing on direction. Direction has been favorable. Okay, so this isn't a super complicated stock. It looks like it's been performing very well, at least for the past year. Higher highs, higher lows. It tends to validate the moving average as a common support level. Right now, it looks like it is testing nearly 52-week highs at $13 a share. I normally don't like buying at those overbought levels, but again, if you don't want to overcomplicate and you think that this thing is going to continue to uptrend, then again, all power to you. I'm personally someone that likes to buy when it gets closer to the moving average with an ascending uptrend pattern. So anytime that it sells off, I like to buy on the reversal, just to make sure that there's upside potential. But that's just based off of my criteria. My criteria doesn't have to be yours. But this is a great find. I'm really happy that you shared this. I mean, I love that you're focusing on something where direction is in your favor. It's consistent. It might not yield the most insane return, but guess what? Green is green. And the more you focus on quality trades, the more you can focus on growth, right? There's no reason to overcomplicate it. So Ricky is McNasally. I am very congested. I am, yeah. Coming back from California, now back in Arizona. And yeah, I'm just very, very stuffy. So I do apologize if I sound a little funny. So hey, Ricky, what's going on, Anton? So HKIT. All right, that sounds like a lower cap stock. Yeah. So I don't trade stocks like this. This personally just wouldn't be something that I would trade. It looks like it just recently IPO'd. It looks like it looks like a pump and dump. It's gapping up. It's great. It gapped up 18% coming from lows of $4. I mean, it's up an insane amount. Anytime anything happens like this, I just choose to stay away. It's only a matter of time for it to correct itself, and it looks very similar to what has happened before, especially with it being such a recent stock. Again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that it's too risky for me, which is why I choose to stay away from newer stocks that get easily manipulated like this and that are already very overbought. The risk is simply too high, at least for me, right? And that's just my 2 cents on this. So yeah. So, all right. What happened to your puts? I don't trade options. I don't have puts. So let's go ahead and break down Roku. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to keep today's video super short and sweet. So if you would like me to break down your stock, please make sure that you share it in that live chat. So Roku showing signs of an ascending higher low and higher high. We'll have to wait and see if we get that confirmation on the reversal. But as of right now, pulling on back from highs of nearly $100, pulling on back to 76, right? We're testing this moving average. I really like the setup on the 4-hour time frame. I would set my alert for the break above $84. If it actually ends up forming that reversal, I think it'd be very interesting to see if we actually end up recovering back to previous highs. So should be interesting. Yo, good morning, Ricky from Australia. What's going on, man? Good morning. Good afternoon. It's almost good night here in Arizona. So let me go ahead and do 2 more. What's going on? Stay green. What's up, brother? So did you do NVIDIA already? No. Robert, I'm more than happy to do NVIDIA. Let me go ahead and break that one down. So NVIDIA, like most of the market, has been kind of pulling on back, right? NVIDIA was a really strong performer the past week based off of, how aggressive it sold last week, right? We went to lows of 400. If we break below 400, I'd be very careful with, a nice little gap down. The last time that we were below 400, that was before it announced its earnings. So let's just be very careful with that. But as of right now, I think the thing that I think NVIDIA really has going for it is obviously the AI bullish sentiment, right? NVIDIA has been absolutely killing it. It looks like they're leading the space when it comes down to creating chips for, AI. At least that's what they continue to say during their earnings report. And based off of previous highs, I mean, this one would not necessarily be a stock that I would trade. This would be more of like a long-term investment, right? Just because the way that it moves per day normally doesn't yield that kind of intraday opportunity. But I think the bigger question is asking, where is the market going to go? Because if the market continues to sell off, then most likely so will NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA sits at a $1 trillion market cap. And if it continues to sell off with the rest of the market, it's going to be giving away its, badge of that $1 trillion company. So opinion on Michael Burry's $1.6 billion bet shorting the market. Yeah, I filmed a video on it. Well, the one thing that I wanted, I've talked about it with some of our members before, and it's very simple. I mean, it's based off of what he did on the previous quarter. We don't even know if he still has an open position shorting the market. Obviously, last week and the week before that, being a bear in the market would have made a lot of sense, but we don't know, right? He just disclosed that for, after Q2, he opened a short position according to these news outlets, but we don't know if it's still open, right? All we know is when he reports again, then we'll have a better understanding of, did his firm actually close out their what are they, put options, right? For both NASDAQ and for SPY. I think it's QQQ and SPY that he is focusing on. So can things get worse before they get better? Of course, but obviously this year has been incredibly successful for the bulls. So let's not take away, that accomplishment as well, right? We have had the past 2.5 weeks of a little bit more of a bearish sentiment, but I'm still unsure of which way the market's going to be going. Are we going to continue to sell off and form these lower lows and lower highs? Or are we actually going to begin to recover? All I know is that now we have options. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this, is that now the market's pulled back enough that it's made it attractive enough to put more money back into it, right? But if the market does want to continue to sell off and get cheaper, then sure, right? We can short it as it sells off, and it's going to provide more of an opportunity for long-term investors at those lower levels. So really excited to follow up. But again, I definitely don't want to rush into it, as we made that mistake in 2022, and it's very easy to get caught on something where you think it's the bottom, but the cheap can always get cheaper. So I'm going to keep it very simple, opinions aside, and then just allow the market to decide which way we're going to be going and waiting for that proper confirmation. But don't worry, that's why we focus on those live sessions, right? Because we take these moments day by day. So if anyone here needs money, I advise you that you are going short tomorrow. Oh, good thing that we don't have to listen, right? We don't know. As of right now, NASDAQ market, what the heck? NASDAQ market looks like now it's break even, right, from where we closed. If market does end up selling off and we see that, and we see that we are forming lower lows and lower highs pre-market, and then when market opens, then sure, I would love to short the market and make some money with the bears, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? Right now, market sentiment, that's the really big thing right now. Market sentiment is pretty bearish. I just want to see if the market's going to continue to sell off with that same momentum that we had last week. Because if it just begins to get really choppy, and then we go from barely selling off anything to then recovering, and barely selling off anything and then recovering, days like that, I don't know about you guys, are just very frustrating for me. And I would rather stay cash than to force something that isn't even happening yet. So I'm going to try to be super, super selective all of next week. I have my trading journal, right? So going to be writing my criterias down and making sure that I recap, day in and day out. If I do take any trades, what are my positive takeaways and what I could have done better as in my areas of opportunity. But other than that, I wanted to keep today's video super short and sweet. I want to wait and see where the market goes, right? Will the market continue to sell off based off of this negative market sentiment that we've had since last week? We will see, right? So I'll see you guys tomorrow for our live session. If you've never had the ability to watch me trade live, I'd encourage you to take 2 minutes, click the second link in the description down below, learn a little bit more about our LPP team, and see if it's a good fit for you. Right now, we are running our biggest sale. It's $175 off, and it's the only team that I work with. I offer nothing else. If you want to be able to watch me trade live every day, to see my entries, you see my exits, but most importantly, you hear my thought process behind every trade, both good trades and bad trades, right? How cool would it be to learn from my experience so you don't have to make also those same mistakes, right? And that is every single day at market open for our live trading session. It's just for the LPP team. And again, that's the second link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions whatsoever, shoot me a DM via Discord or via Instagram, and all of that is linked in the description down below. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.